The man was frantically eating on the plane, facing the concern of a beautiful woman beside him, but he completely ignored her. He even began having trouble breathing. FKS, it appears we're going to have a little bit of a bumpy right here for the next few minutes. The airplane suddenly started shaking violently. The man looked out of the window in terror. He discovered that the wing was swinging wildly, causing everything in the cabin to be thrown all over the place. Confronted with the unexpected situation, Sam, who was already scared of flying, was horrified. But soon, the air current stabilized. It was thought to be just an ordinary case of extreme turbulence. Little did they know, it marked the start of a change that would transform the world. Upon arriving in New York, Sam and his friend were stuck in traffic. Since they were on the verge of being late, they opted to walk to the stadium. Just after getting off his vehicle, Sam was suddenly drawn by a sound. From the sky. He looked up. He saw flocks of birds, as if they had been summoned by some call. They were all flying nonstop toward the south. The scene was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Meanwhile, in a laboratory, an elderly professor was staring fixedly at the screen, as if something incredible was happening. It turned out that their weather buoy had suddenly registered anomalies. What are the odds of two boys? Shortly after, the professor made a phone call. The person on the other end was Jack, an American meteorology expert. The professor explained that the buoy had recorded abnormal temperatures. Looking at the email sent by the professor, Jack wore an expression of disbelief. At the same time, the Meteorological Bureau received tip-off calls from citizens. A massive tornado was forming over Los Angeles. Reporters in a helicopter spotted something even more frightening. There wasn't just one tornado in the air, but four. In an instant, the tornado destroyed Hollywood's landmark. Faced with this horrifying sight, some people didn't flee. In fact, they even grabbed a camera to record it. They must be the storm chasers' live audience. At that moment, an unprecedented scene unfolded. He saw two tornadoes merging together to form an even larger one. A devoted reporter was live on air just a moment ago. The next second, a billboard flew through the air and swept a person away. Los Angeles had turned into a hell on earth. The tornado destroyed 7,085 buildings. Countless people lost their lives. However, the tornado showed no signs of stopping. The wind was gradually intensifying. The U.S. government convened all scholars to study this weather catastrophe. As a top expert, Jack was naturally included. His climate model simulation predicted that the Earth was undergoing a massive climate shift. The government decided that he should lead a team to quickly determine the timescale of the entire climate change, using supercomputer simulations. The results quickly arrived in front of Jack. That timescale isn't in months, but in fits and weeks. Just then, a terrifying incident took place on a Scottish island. When 3 helicopters were on a mission, they flew into the eye of the storm. The air temperature plummeted. All 3 helicopters crashed due to frozen pipelines. The surviving soldiers hadn't had time to climb out of the cabin. Before, they were turned into ice sculptures. The elderly professor called Jack to inform him of this incident. And there was something even more chilling. The temperature at the time was minus 60 degrees. The storm carried the frigid air from high altitude straight to the surface. The temperature dropped rapidly in a short time. It plummeted quickly. Thousands of people have already frozen to death. On the other side, due to the hurricane's impact, all flights across the U.S. were canceled. Sam and his teammates were stuck in New York. At that moment, the entire city was pouring rain, with nowhere to go. They could only hang out at school. Suddenly, a mammoth specimen caught Xiao Hei's attention. No one would have guessed that the fate of humanity would become like that of man.